Down the field, the Lions team that will not yield. And when the blue and silver wave, you stand and cheer the brave.
Rah, rah, rah.
Win the game, and honor you will keep your fame. So down the field and gain a Lions victory.
All right, everyone. Welcome back to Sports Flow here with BK and Speaks.
Woo!
This week we will be recapping the Detroit Lions Week 1 matchup versus the LA Rams. Sunday Night Football, and it did not disappoint here, Speaks. The Detroit Lions fortunately pull out a 26-20 victory over the Rams there in OT. Nail-biting game, but great to get the victory.
It was awesome to get the victory. First primetime, game of the year for our Lions. They showed out in overtime, really bullied them. It was a great way to start the season and end that game. Another nail biter versus the Rams. They're going to be, one of the best teams in the league, I think. They had some, injuries that really hurt them, but we found a way and we bullied them when it counted in the trenches, baby.
Yeah, needed the drive in OT, and we needed the stop to end the game more than anything else. Giving them the ball back there with 5 minutes left in the game, needed the defense to come up with the stand for us to kick the last second field goal in order to bring it to overtime. Defense comes up with a huge third down stop. Hutchinson obviously played a huge role in that with the amount of pressure that he was putting on Stafford, because Stafford was playing a whale of a game.
Oh man, Stafford was getting the ball out quick. Their game plan was perfect against us. He does what he does. He doesn't get enough credit with how good he actually is, in my opinion.
Yeah, making no-look throws and all
like it's nothing with a guy literally in his grill, just like it's no big deal.
Yeah, just insanity how productive and how efficient he was in Week 1. But I mean, the Lions came up with the stop late, a little drag pattern. He had to overthrow Cooper Kupp on it. Fortunately, the Lions get it back. Bates comes down. The rookie kicker takes care of business in crunch time there, and we were able to get.
That's our cherry on top this year, baby. We didn't have that last year.
We needed a kicker.
We did,
and it sounds like this could be the guy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we had some decent performances. I think we were looking for a little bit more out of Goff. This week, Goff ended up with 217 yards, a touchdown, and a pick.
He made the plays he needed to. I mean, he wasn't great, but he wasn't bad by any stretch of the imagination either. I thought he played a very consistent game, and he led us right down the field when we needed him to the most.
Yeah, I thought he managed the game pretty well. Obviously, the passing attack is going to be a little different this year without having Josh Reynolds there at the wide receiver 3. They're still
other guys are going to have to step up, which we're still trying to figure out.
Exactly. I think there's a lot of moving pieces there that they're still trying to put into place. But I thought he played pretty well. Obviously, Jameson Williams gave us a huge boost there in the passing game.
I've been telling you, this is his coming out party. Waymo, baby. He's doing it.
You've been talking about it in that double move. Travius White was unbelievable, Speaks. I mean, that stutter step had him just standing still. Just unbelievable speed that we're getting out of J-Mo.
The route running's just so crisp thus far this year, and they were preaching about it in camp. He just looks like the player he was coming out of Alabama.
Yeah, that burst and that speed, too, is uncoachable.
Yep.
I mean, he looks like a great wide receiver, too, for us. We'll see how all the other pieces kind of mesh there in the passing
Might be one by the end of the year if he keeps playing like that.
Oh, I don't know. Don't be doing my guy St. Brown dirty like that after one subpar performance. I mean, he did only end up with 3 catches for 13 yards, but I anticipate that number will be much higher here in the next couple weeks.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, their game plan was to shut down St. Brown and Sam Laporta, and they kept them in check. So I'm not saying St. Brown's going to have another game like that. He's going to be rip-roaring and ready to go. I completely believe in that.
Yeah, I agree too. I think he's just too good to keep down. And you talked about them kind of containing Laporta there too. Laporta only had 4 catches for 45 yards. I see those numbers going up as well. once he gets kind of meshed into the new offense without the wide receiver 3 there. I think he'll end up being a bigger piece, just like you were talking about. They were a focal point of the Rams' defense all week, and I see just good things going forward with those guys.
Yeah, and then Gibbs, who I talked about previously, I thought he had a great game. He's kind of filling in for that wide receiver 3 role a little bit. 4 catches, 34 yards, and then he was doing his thing on the ground too. 11 carries, 40 yards, and a TD. The he's a great change of pace back for us, and, I love everything I saw out of him.
Yeah, he's our Swiss Army knife.
Yes, he is.
Offensively. And, they're just going to try to find ways to get him the ball, and it's a great move because I think he can help us in the passing attack and the running attack. But when we're talking about the running attack this week, David Montgomery took it over. 17 carries for 91 yards and a touchdown, and just bullied the Rams late in that game.
Baby.
Yeah, you could tell that the Rams defense was getting tired. And Montgomery just continued to push.
Ran it down their throats in OT.
Continued to battle. You talked about that drive in OT. I mean, 7 out of the 8 plays that we called on that last drive were running plays. One of them was the reverse there to Khalif Raymond, and that was
some Khalif.
Yeah, that was the only other running play, and the rest, all 6 carries went to Montgomery. They were just running right behind Sewell, right behind that big offensive front.
You see MCDC's face when we won that coin toss. He's like, "Oh, we're gonna run this down your throats. We're gonna bully you in the trenches, and we're gonna take the W."
You could tell that something was up over there. That he saw that hey, the Rams are worn down. We're gonna be able to just take this thing down. We're gonna score it. We're going to end it right here, and they sure did. It was incredible.
And it was a pretty cool scene seeing Goff and Stafford, walk in the middle for that coin toss, with the trade, the history. It was cool to see, and I felt pretty stoked for Goff to win that thing, and run it right down their throat for the W.
For sure. I mean, the theatrics of the whole thing were just
like a movie.
Spectacular with it. and a movie result for us, too.
Yes,
I mean, we love to see it. I think we got to dive into the defense a little bit here, though, too.
Yep.
I mean, they were able to slow down Matthew Stafford in this Rams high-powered offense. I mean, they allowed 387 yards, 304 passing yards, and 83 rushing yards, but that's still pretty good production with our run defense there.
It's been over 600 and something days since a team has rushed over 100 yards on our Lions.
Which is crazy. I mean, the run defense for the Lions is just top tier right now, and on top of that, I mean, you're getting DJ Reader back, who is one of the best stoppers in the entire league at defensive tackle there.
It's going to be scary, him and Aline together.
Yeah, coming back today, I mean,
I'm excited for it.
I see a wrecking crew there in the middle of our defensive line.
Same.
I mean, it's open up more space for Hutch, too, to do his thing on the outside.
That spin move's just been filthy thus far this year.
Oh, my God. Nobody can block him when he does it.
He can't block Hutch.
I mean, he's just perfected the spin move. He's getting there. I mean, it's a lot to be excited about with this defense from what we saw the previous year.
Oh my God, the secondary has improved tremendously. It's a sight to see. My goodness, I mean, Arnold looked great as a rookie. Yeah, he had some calls go against him. That's he's going to learn that in time, and as the officials see the way he plays and his physicality, they'll know when to throw flags, when not to throw flags. So that's all going to come in time.
Yeah, I agree. I think I really liked what I saw of our secondary. I mean, Cooper Kupp is no joke to cover. I mean, the guy is the best route runner in the league when he's healthy. And Tyrion Arnold and Carlton Davis were both holding their own against the guy when Stafford was just
the Triple Crown winner,
I mean, it was no joke for them to get that matchup in Week 1, and they were able to handle it pretty well.
Yeah, we handled it really well, and I only see us getting better and better as we gel as a unit. Branch, that was his first game at safety. Had a couple missed tackles
and
dropped a pick, but he also made some plays too. But we'll get into that a little bit later, but he's only going to get better. The cohesiveness as a unit's going to get better. So I only see better and bigger things that come from the defense.
Yeah, I totally agree, and I think the heart and soul of the thing, you could see it right out of the gates, was Alex Anzalone at linebacker.
Gosh.
I mean, the guy
Thor,
was
baby.
just everywhere.
Everywhere.
Running down every single player on that Rams offense, and in that first drive, I think he had, 2 tackles for loss. I mean, the guy was just absolutely everywhere. Ended up with 10 tackles in the game, 3 assisted tackles on top of that. I mean, the guy was the heart and soul of that run defense.
He's our engine. He's what makes us run. He sets the tone.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, with him bringing that, I mean, it gives a new confidence to this defense with what they got on the back end. I loved what I saw out of Tyrion Arnold. I think we're getting a starter there all year out of him.
I really liked what I saw out of Davenport, too. He was kind of a wild card. Unfortunately, he has the groin injury and he won't be playing this upcoming week. But if he stays healthy, him on one side, Hutch on the other,
Raider and McNeil.
Raider and McNeil, and then,
Levi Aruzareki.
He had a great sack. Everyone has been praising him in training camp, saying, he's the real deal. He had a great sack, and then, if we throw in Houston there, if and when, we activate him, I mean, that's a lot of pieces who can get to the quarterback, BK.
Which is something we didn't have last year.
Not at all.
So, I mean...
We couldn't get to the quarterback.
No, it was basically Hutch versus everybody.
Yeah.
And now you're getting Hutch and you're getting other pieces around him. I thought Davenport was extremely productive, too. He's doubtful for today's game, but we'll see how that goes. But, I mean, you're also talking about Hutch continuing to grow as one of the best pass rushers in the league.
You said to our first pod that you think he could get defensive MVP for the whole league this year. I mean, I'm seeing it.
Yeah, I mean, if he is able to get space and have these one-on-one pass rushes, he's going to be on top of the quarterback all season long. I mean, just this last week, he had a pass win rate of 47.8%, which is the highest recorded in a game since 2021. I mean, the guy's efficiency is just off the charts, brings it every week, and we need it with this pass rush.
Not only his efficiency, his relentlessness. He is just so relentless out there. The guy is just a one-man wrecking machine.
Yeah, and it's just going to continue to get better and better. I mean, the ceiling for this guy looks like T.J. Watt, who is an absolute monster over there in Pittsburgh.
Yep.
I think he could get to that point. I mean, the way he is rushing the passer is something that you're not seeing around the rest of the league.
No, he is that elite. I think he's going to have a T.J. Watt year. I'm putting him in that upper echelon of defensive players.
Yeah, a lot to be excited about here with the defense speaks. I think going forward, it's just going to continue to get better as they keep meshing as a unit. But I liked what I saw there in game 1.
Yep, Aaron Glenn had a solid game plan.
Yeah, I mean, holding that Rams offense to 20 points is no joke.
No, it's not. Not with all the talent they have. But, then we can talk about how great the offense was, too. They weren't amazing, but to start the year, I thought we looked pretty solid.
Yeah, and balanced. I mean, we had 363 total yards, 200 passing yards, so not a lot of pressure put on Goff there in game 1 with all the moving pieces. But fortunately, our offensive line and our running backs are still one of the best groups in the entire NFL.
It's our foundation.
The foundation is what we build everything on, and we had 163 rushing yards to back that up.
Yeah, I mean, the passing game for Goff, I mean, I'd even think he'd say it was a subpar performance for him, but, he's only, going to get clicking with these guys with no preseason, no, real live reps besides practice. That's only going to get better, and as we kind of touched on earlier, the St. Brown, he's going to be rip-roaring and ready to go for this next game. I mean, 3 catches. You just don't see that out of him. They shut him down. They did what they wanted to do. Other guys stepped up with Waymo. St. Brown is going to be pissed off, and he's going to have a big game, I think, coming up.
Yeah, and the play that we haven't talked about yet for St. Brown.
Yeah, bring it up because this was elite.
He ends up winning us the game.
Absolutely. If it wasn't for him, we don't win.
Yeah, because he slips on a slant route there in overtime.
Yep.
And it was a big moment where we were driving down the field. slips on a slant route. The DB ends up breaking on it, was going to get an interception.
He was.
And St. Brown had the awareness to knock the ball down before it got to the DB. Without him knocking that down, we don't win that game.
Yeah, and St. Brown's podcast, he said that DB said, "You smart motherfucker." He's like, my God, he was going to pick that off. St. Brown's, awareness and canny ability to do that when the game's on the line for us. That's why he wears the C on his chest. That's why we gave him the contract. That's why he's going to be around in one of our focal points and, best players on our team.
Yeah, I thought there is a lot for him to grow from, obviously, in that first game. I think Ben Johnson saw, kind of how they attacked him. He's going to have a better game plan for him this week.
Absolutely.
We talked about it earlier with Jameson.
Woo, baby!
He continues to be a deep threat for us, and he looks like he's going to be a good wide receiver, too, for us this year. Laporta, obviously, we think he's going to, continue to grow with the passing attack. We do still need to figure out that hole at wide receiver 3. You and I talked about it. We think Gibbs could get to that spot. But, they're really looking for a piece there where they can find stability.
Cleef Raymond, we mentioned, had that nice reverse. Kennedy was elevated. He got a few snaps there, but, Williams is still hurt. The, undrafted guy that we, Isaiah Williams, who made the team this year. He won't be playing in week 2 either. But, we're still looking for someone to step up, and we just elevated a guy from the practice squad. How do you think he's going to fare this game?
Yeah, we elevate Tim Patrick, the wide receiver out of Denver. Broncos didn't seem to want to let this guy go.
No.
It was one of those situations where it was a cap situation where they couldn't pay him the necessary money that they needed to. They had a lot of depth on their wide receiving core, so they decided to move on from him. Lions get a good steal here. He goes to the practice squad, has kind of figured out the playbook, and they've called him up. So I'm hoping he's going to fill that wide receiver 3 role that we need for the offense there. We'll see what
it's essentially we traded Reynolds for Patrick.
Yeah.
In a sense of things.
Yeah.
So we'll see how he does once he learns the playbook and gets a few reps under him. I'm excited, and I think he could fill that void. We need a big body in there, so we'll see what he does.
Yeah, and I thought it was a middle grade performance from our offense.
Yeah.
You and I both expect this thing to score close to 30 points a game.
Absolutely.
I thought they went a little under that, obviously, in last week's game, but it's one of those things.
And one thing we haven't talked about now is the atmosphere in Detroit. They put on another show. It was loud. There was a lot of delay of games, false starts on the Rams way. So Detroit fans, keep that up. I love it, and I love seeing it. We're just we're there, baby.
Yeah, one of the loudest environments in the NFL. We're going to continue to have it. Our home field advantage is very real, and I think it's just going to continue to catapult this team to new heights. I really liked what I saw out of the defense being able to win us this game.
Me too. Because they didn't win us games last year. They lost us games.
Exactly. That's a game that the Lions give away most of the time, and to pull out that win was absolutely spectacular.
The culture's changing on the defense end, baby.
Yeah, it's fun to see.
It is.
Because this is what we're going to need to make a long run in the playoffs.
Yes, it is.
Offense just can't carry you every week.
No. Defense is what wins championships.
Exactly, and I think we have one of those this year. When I'm looking at, the players of the game.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Right out of the gates, my defensive player of the game is Alex Anzalone. The guy is an unsung
It's a sure bet right there.
The guy is just everywhere.
He is, man. Thor is everywhere.
Nobody talks about the guy.
No, he doesn't get enough credit.
He runs the show for us. He's the leader of the defense. I think he was the reason that we had such a good defensive game. Came out, set the tone right out of the gates.
Yep.
I think, he was a very big part of our success there. I think Anzalone is definitely somebody who should get a helmet sticker at least for his performance there in week 1.
I concur.
And then when I'm talking about my offensive player of the week, I'm talking about David Montgomery.
The bell cow, baby.
He just looked like he was, hitting stride again from last year, running over people.
The bowling ball.
Continuing to break first contact and get more yards. The fact that he got stronger as the game went on was just a testament to how hard that he worked in the
How
offseason.
good a shape he's in.
Yeah, and how much the Lions trusted him down the stretch. And it was spectacular to see. Montgomery's obviously going to be a big piece of this offense going forward as he's our short yardage back and in between the back tackles back for us. And he fit everything that we needed there in week one.
Yeah, he sure did. I love everything about David's game. He doesn't get enough credit, and, he's our running back one for a reason. Fantasy people might get mad if they drafted Gibbs, but Montgomery's the number one, and Gibbs is going to be our change of pace back. I mean, that's just what it is.
They're going to split it.
They're going to split it.
I mean, I'm expecting that Gibbs is going to get close to 10 carries a game.
Yeah, exactly.
He'll get 10 carries a game, and he'll probably produce in the passing attack. But when we're talking about the bell cow back, it still looks like it's Montgomery here.
Absolutely. So when we're talking about going back to the defensive side of the ball, my defense player of the game, I'm going to have Branch be that guy. I think he's going to have a huge bounce back game after a lackluster performance by his standards and what we're accustomed to.
I still thought he played well, though.
No,
he
he did play well, but he was the first one who went up to MCDC after the game and said he has to be better. He's not going to miss those tackles, and we know he's not going to miss those tackles. He's still trying to find his stride at this safety position, and he did exactly what we wanted him to do. He was in the game, and he said he kind of wore out in the third quarter a little bit. He hasn't played that many snaps in a long time at the nickel position he was playing. So, I think only bigger and better things to come from Branch, don't you?
Yeah, I would agree. I think when we're talking about player of the game this last week, it's tough for us not to put Hutch into the defensive player of the week.
You could put him down every week.
Every week. So we're talking about just different guys around him there. But I agree. I think Branch will have a bigger week this upcoming week. I think as he continues to grow in that role at safety, we should just expect bigger and better things.
Absolutely, BK. And then going back to the offensive side of the ball, although I think St. Brown will have a huge bounce back game after a slow start last week, I do think the man, again, will be J-Mo. Will have a second consecutive 100-yard game with at least one TD. I said it before this season. I'm going to continue to say it. He's going to lead the league in reception yards, and this is his coming out party. So you guys get ready. He's going to have another big week, and I want to see the consistency. So this is a true test.
Yeah, I mean, out of the gates, J-Mo just had a massive game for us. He was the reason our passing attack was remotely effective in that game. I think you're onto something. I mean, the dude's speed, the way he's able to work intermediate routes.
Yep.
I mean, we're not talking about just a one-trick pony here.
No,
who
we're
just
not.
can run the streak. I think as he continue to get the ball in his hands, you're just going to see him make more and more plays with that intermediate passing game. And it's just a lot to be excited about.
He did it on the ground, too, baby. 13 yards on the ground. He does it all.
Yeah, we got a couple weapons there on offense between Gibbs and J-Mo, who have the ability to just be a nightmare for defenses to deal with their speed and big playability. J-Mo obviously has the big playability. If he can continue to do the little stuff with it, I mean, he's
on a
just
consistent basis
for an absolute massive year.
Yeah, and it's gonna happen. Let's get into this Tampa game. 1 p.m. But back to regular time on Fox today. Sorry for the late pod. I was in Arizona on business, so we just had to make it work like this. But what do you got here, BK?
Yeah, so the lines are favored by 7.5. The over/under is set at 51.5. Right out of the gates, let's look at the injuries and who we've kind of moved up. We talked about it earlier. Tim Patrick is obviously being called up from our practice squad, the wide receiver there. Marcus Davenport, we touched on it a little bit earlier. He's doubtful with a groin injury this week. Ife Malafanu is also out this week.
I was hoping he'd get back soon.
Yeah.
That seems to be a linger.
Yeah, that ankle. I mean, it just continues to kind of bother him. So, I mean, it looks like he is going to be out again this week with it. Hopefully he's going to return here in the next couple weeks. And then Kirby Joseph is a little a little banged up there with a hamstring injury. Penei Sewell has an ankle injury.
Same ankle he hurt in training camp.
Yep. Unfortunately, unfortunately, but that dude's just going to continue to play through as long as he can walk. And then
Isn't that the truth?
And then Jamison Williams had a monster game, but he did get shaken up there a little bit with an ankle injury.
God, I'm happy that's all it was, because it looked bad when that foot stuck in that turf like it did. I was scared.
It's a little nerve-wracking with him getting the ball this year, just
Yeah.
because he's so fast that he's going to get into space where people are going to roll up on him.
Exactly.
I'm hoping he can stay healthy, but that is a kind of a lingering issue
Yeah.
on it. But all are listed as questionable today, and they will all play, it sounds like. And then when we're talking about Tampa Bay this afternoon, they are dealing with a little bit injuries over
Yeah,
there
they got
as
an
well.
injury bug over there.
Yeah, they got 4 starters who will be out this week.
Good
Right
for
out
us,
the-
bad for them.
Bad for them, good for us. Right out of the gates, their star right tackle, Luke Godeke, will be out of today's game. Also, their defensive lineman, who causes a lot of problems with his pass rush D-line, Kalijah Cansey, will be out today for them. DB Josh Hayes will be out over there. And then also their star safety, Antoine Winfield, will be out as well. Those are all big pieces. Tampa's pass defense struggled last week. This week they should struggle even more with the injuries that they've kind of had happen over there. And it looks pretty good for us on paper with our passing attack.
Yep.
I think when we look at it for this week, my prediction is, Tampa has a great defense. They're going to cause the Lions problems. The Lions have been
A Bulls
vocal about it.
coach team's always a good defensive team.
They're ready. I mean, they're
Yep.
always prepared. I mean, the Lions have come out this week and said right out of the gates their defense is a problem. So
And
we're
let's
gonna
make
be
one thing straight. Baker's no slouch, man. He's a pretty good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, they got some weapons offensively. Chris Godwin's very tough at wide receiver.
Evans, he
Mike
he
Evans
does his thing year in, year out.
every year.
White's a great running back.
Rashad White, they put in a little bit of a spell back there too with Bucky Irving. I see them, being tough to stop offensively, but I think our defense with the crowd is going to cause Tampa Bay offensive problems again. I think, they are 1-0. They're ready to go.
Yeah.
They're stepping
And they
in.
want to get revenge after us beating them in the playoffs last year. They had this one circled on their calendar,
Yeah.
so we best be ready.
Yeah, there's a chip on their shoulder for sure over there. But I think, Detroit's going to come in. They're going to end up taking care of business, and I think we're going to pull it out 27-17 this afternoon, Speaks. What are you thinking about it?
I like it. So I have us winning this one 35-21. I like yours a little bit better with only allowing 17, but I think we I think we have a great game plan going into this game. I think we score more. You had the 27, I have the 35, so we're both right there. And then I have us at 21 opposed to the 17. So I mean pretty close similarity, but yeah, I think we win in the trenches. They have a few more injuries than we do. Our team as a whole on the offense and defense side of the ball are going to gel that much more in week 2. And, I'm excited to see what it's going to be like again, man. It was fun to watch last week.
Yeah, I'm excited to see what the defense brings to the table this week. I know they asked Dan Campbell earlier this week about Vita Vea, who is the big defensive lineman for Tampa, who will stop the run most games just because he's very tough to move.
Yep.
Dan Campbell said we're not too worried about Vita Vea because we have Frank Ragnow. So it's one of those things where it's kind of, good unit on good unit, kind of bashing heads here. I think the Lions will prevail with that running attack, though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we wear them down in the trenches and, do our thing. And, I think it might be close at first, but I think we run away with it.
Yeah, I think it'll be a good game again, but I'm looking forward to seeing what the team brings here in week 2. A lot to be excited about there after week 1. But that's all we got this week for you on Sports Flow here with BK and Speaks. Next week we'll be back to recap this week's game versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then also look into next week's game versus the Arizona Cardinals.
Yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed. Again, sorry for the tardiness. Go Lions, and we'll be back next week.